Hey guys, Swayze here. So it seems like I have gone to the dark side. For the past almost 5 months, since about late March, I have been eating cooked foods. And first I just want to say, 5 months seems like a long time, but I really wanted to do this for a while to see the results because there is definitely a sort of acclimation period, a transition period when you're going from eating exclusively raw to eating some cooked foods. There definitely is a transition period. And so I wanted to get past all of that before kind of coming to you guys and telling you guys my results and maybe helping you if you're trying to do the same thing. So that's why it's been, so long. I was just going to do 3 months, but, I decided to do it now. So I'm still eating mostly raw, but I have been incorporating some cooked foods on a daily basis, more than I was eating before. I think I've talked about before, I'll eat things like roasted carob powder. I did a whole video on that. And, like rice, like vegetable wraps with the rice paper, on the outside. Obviously the rice paper isn't raw, but I love those things. Those are good. So I eat those on occasion. But again, for the past about 5 months, I've been, every day eating some cooked food. So why am I now eating some cooked food? It's a very simple reason. It's probably a reason that most of you have experienced if you've tried to eat all raw, and it's cost. I've been doing this for so long, and the cost was really starting to get to me, especially after reading Frederick Patnaud's book, his ebook program on eating vegan, so not all raw, but vegan, for less than $100 a month. And so ever since reading that, it's kind of just been in the back of my mind. It's kind of like when I first learned about raw foods, and it was about eating raw foods healthfully, high fruit, low fat. It was kind of just in the back of my mind. And so the same with this, it's just been in the back of my mind for a while. So I finally just decided, you know what, I'm going to see how cheaply I can eat and still eat healthfully. Because I've talked about before, you don't have to eat all raw to be healthy. A mostly raw diet is still very, very healthy. So back in late March, I decided to start incorporating some cooked foods. Nothing, like processed Fruit Loops and cereal and meat and stuff like that. I still eat a vegan diet. Mostly just, whole foods, whole legumes, and very, very cheap foods like beans and rice, which are very, very cheap. And just by doing that, again, still eating mostly raw, but eating some cooked foods every day, I've been able to significantly reduce the cost of my food each month, which is awesome. So in terms of other pros, other good things that I've seen since doing this for 5 months, there is one other thing, and I'm not going to bring it up here, not to be like, cliffhanger, but it's something that I really want to talk more about, and it really deserves its own video. So the next video that I post for you guys will be all about that. In terms of things that I don't like about eating this way, as opposed to eating, all fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, I'm just gonna say it, smelly gas. My farts stink now. And, before you've probably heard me talk about body odor and definitely having less body odor eating all raw. And I haven't noticed any difference in terms of my sweat or anything, but in terms of gas, before there was usually no odor or very little odor, usually none at all. And now it's a different story. So that, it's a minor thing, but it does kind of suck. Another big thing, and a thing that's I've really kind of been dealing with until fairly recently, is weight and how easy it is to gain weight when you include just some cooked foods in your diet. I mean, for me, someone who I find it easy to gain weight. I find it easy to lose weight too, but I'm definitely not someone who's just naturally very thin. And I can eat a lot of food. I mean, as someone who used to binge on food, I can eat a lot of food. And so I find that raw works really well for me, all raw, because you have to eat a lot more food to gain weight. And I've certainly gained weight on raw, on just fruits and vegetables, but it's harder. So I find it easier to maintain my weight on all fruits and vegetables and limited amounts of nuts and seeds, including some cooked foods like beans and rice, which are much higher in calories. A cup of beans is over 200 calories, closer to 250 calories, whereas a cup of like peaches is, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 calories, something like that. So it's a lot easier to gain weight on those foods. And so I've found that I have to be a little more diligent in terms of making sure that I'm not eating too much. And at first it was a lot harder because I really missed sweet stuff. You know, I missed all the fruit. And so, you know, for a while I really had to make sure that I wasn't, you know, just getting hungry and eating more fruit and still having the beans or the rice or whatever, and then end up eating, you know, 2,500 calories a day as opposed to, you know, around 2,000. So that's been a little bit of a struggle, and it's mostly been a struggle because I've been kind of fighting it. I didn't want to start having to count calories and having to pay attention to that. It just wasn't something I wanted to do. So I kind of tried to just wing it and was like, oh yeah, I'm totally eating 2,000 calories when I kind of knew I wasn't. So a lot of it was just kind of being rebellious, but I finally got to the point where I'm feeling more satisfied, and I don't feel like at the end of the day, oh man, I could really eat like a lot more food. I mean, for a while I just felt like, gosh, I feel like I could eat 3 more meals and still be hungry. And so now I feel, you know, at the end of the day, I feel satisfied. But again, on all raw, it's a lot easier to maintain my weight. The final problem I've had with doing this, and this one really sucks, and I don't know what to do about this, but it's my keratosis pilaris has returned. If you've seen a video I did on how I got rid of my keratosis pilaris, which is basically a skin condition, it's also called chicken skin. You can look it up and see what it looks like. I don't know if you can see it here on the camera, and I'm not going to put my arm close to the camera so you can see it. But basically it's these little bumps that you get on your arms. They're kind of like acne, but not really. And they have returned. And so that really stinks. And so part of it could be that I'm not getting as much sun as I used to be, but I didn't get as much sun last summer either, and I still didn't have them. So that's been my experience, including some cooked foods in my diet for the past 5 months or so. I'm going to keep going with this because I do enjoy the food. I do enjoy what I've been eating, and I'll also do a video on exactly what I've been eating, like on a daily basis, what I have for my meals, to give you guys a better idea. But I have been enjoying it, and again, the cost savings is really awesome. On a raw food diet, I can only get my costs so low without having to severely restrict the foods that I really love, like papaya and tomatoes, all the really expensive fruits that like happen to be my favorite. So this way I can cut my costs even lower than that without, feeling super restricted. So I'm going to keep going with this because of the cost, and the other thing that I haven't mentioned that I'm going to do a video on. So in the meantime, I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've had any experience with this, or if you're thinking about, maybe you're eating all raw and you're thinking about switching to eating a mostly raw food diet for whatever reason, or any questions that you have for me on doing this, or if you'd like to see more videos on this, on what I've been eating, or certain recipes, or just how I made the switch, or anything else, please leave your comments below, and I will have a new video up very, very soon, so stay tuned.